nobody really fails out of the business too often because they're not a contracts professor, but they do fail out because they can't get their hands on the business.
Hello and welcome to episode 32 of the Smart Agents Podcast. My name is Michael Walter and I'll be your host. In today's episode, we talk with Brent Turner of California-based Turner Real Estate. After starting his real estate career at the age of 18, Brent left the industry to pursue other opportunities. Then in 2001, he started his own real estate business that is now in its 20th year. Throughout our conversation, we talk all about how he has grown this business over that time, and we also touch on his involvement in green real estate practices from the very beginning. Now, before we get into the day's featured interview, make sure you follow and subscribe to the show on whatever platform you listen to podcasts. You can find us on all major podcasting platforms from Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and the list goes on. Also, as you can see if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the Smart Agents YouTube channel. Click the bell to get notifications when each new episode is uploaded. And lastly, if you or somebody else on your team has an awesome story or a tip to share with our community, send us a message at feedback@smartagents.com. We're always on the lookout for new stories to share. All right, so moving on with today's episode, we talk with Brent Turner, and I really had a great time talking with him, and I hope you enjoy it. All right, so just kind of starting out a little bit, I usually like to ask people where they're at in the country and how they got their start in real estate.
Well, hello, Michael. My name is Brent Turner. I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I started in real estate at 18 years old with a Coldwell banker in San Mateo, and I got my start. I thought it was a good idea. Real estate was in my family gene, and so I just went ahead and got my license at a young age, and the rest is history, as they say.
Right. So starting out at such a young age, how, and you said this was his family, you had a family history in the business. There's not a lot of people. I feel like a lot of people that I talk to, they get into real estate a little bit later on, or there's not a whole lot of people that are right out of the gate. First career is real estate. So what was that like being so young, getting into the business?
Well, really, it was a short-lived stay. I was there, and then I was off to the races. I went, graduated law school, opened up a business, and had a life. Went on to be a musician in Hollywood, and had a full life aside from real estate, but really got back into real estate a little bit later after having that business experience and recognizing that I really did have an affection for the practice of real estate, regardless of what else I was doing in my life. So I've stayed involved with music and different aspects of life and kept my real estate business moving forward to the point of now in 2001, I opened my own company, Turner Real Estate, and still we have agents throughout California. So
awesome. Well, before we get into the real estate, I got to ask you, what kind of music was it?
Very hard, loud rock and roll.
Hey, that's cool. That's what I'm into. So that definitely.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure of buying the bass player for Steve Harris, the bass player for Iron Maiden, a beer, and I've Yngwie Malmsteen, a great guitarist, owes me $600. So if you see him around Florida, tell him Turner's looking for him.
Definitely. I know all the guys. I always have headphones on, so nobody knows what I'm listening to, but it's definitely pretty heavy.
What kind of stuff do you listen to?
Oh, I grew up, when I was a kid, I was all into Metallica and Iron Maiden. I was everything, and I've carried it through. So,
yeah. The stories I could tell you about Lars and myself back in the day wouldn't be fit for this particular, but we'll carry on, and this will be fun for my agents to watch.
Definitely. Well, roping it back into real estate. Tell me about starting your business, almost 20 years ago now, I guess.
Yes. Well, I had been Rookie of the Year again when I restarted my career with Prudential. I then was recruited by a group that people now are familiar with, Keller Williams, to be a recruiter. I did a lot of recruiting for them and folding in of other companies throughout California. And then eventually in 2001, opened up my own company based on some of the ideas I had acquired along the way from being through the Coldwell Banker system, the Prudential system, the Keller Williams system, and just tried to make an environment for the agents that was responsive and protective of the agent, and really what I would want as an agent myself. So that was the idea for the company.
Right. I think that's great to be able to pull from those different places and to really kind of pick, all right, I really like this about this particular place I was at. I really like this part of it, and kind of bring it all together. So you are creating that good ecosystem for the newer agents coming in.
It's crucial. It has tremendous meaning in their lives, whether they can be successful or not in the practice. And a lot of them fail out never really getting a fair shake, I think, from the lack of proper mentorship within the industry. So I think as independent companies, we can perhaps, make sure we're providing that.
Right. It's kind of like I always equate that to, that's the star athlete that gets drafted. And really a lot of it, their success depends on the coaching that they have or the team that's around them when they get started. You could be the Heisman Trophy winner, but if you've got a terrible team in front of you, your career's off to a bad start. And a lot of times it flames out.
Correct. They have that initial, 2-year period where I think we see the high failure rate. And then the rest go on to migrate to other companies, whatever. But there is a better system where by supporting the agent and providing them with better educational tools, that really they have a better, I think, better percentage chance.
Right. So what's kind of your system? What's your onboarding system to bring somebody into your company to make sure that they are successful?
Well, first of all, to make sure that they know the contract, that they're conversant in the contract and the intellectual gymnastics around contingency removals and other features within the contract. So we get them there, hopefully, through repetition. And then the marketing certainly comes in, because nobody really fails out of the business too often because they're not a contracts professor, but they do fail out because they can't get their hands on the business. So we try to point them in the direction of not only being education-based, but also being in tune with the better real estate courses, coaches, et cetera, that are available to them. So companies such as your own, companies such as the others that are obviously out there, these are where we point them to make sure that if they're not just listening to me, they're listening to somebody that has good expertise.
Right. I think that's great as a business owner to be able to point your employees into other experts in the field, so that it isn't that just you're listening to me, you're getting a full picture of everything.
Right. Well, and remember, they're independent contractors, not employees. Right. So they don't really have to listen to me, do they?
Right. Tell me, so now what's the size of your company?
We're small, very boutique. We tend to fluctuate, 10, 20, sometimes we get up to 30, but we're right in that small range, relatively speaking. So I go through recruiting spurts where sometimes I feel like recruiting, sometimes I feel like practicing, and I sort of toggle back and forth to my own comfort level. But right now, I think we've got maybe 15, 20, 25, somewhere in there, spread about in some different offices. I'm in Northern California as well as Southern California.
Right. When you are recruiting, what are you looking for in a person to join your company, that kind of sticks out to maybe help you think that this person is going to be successful? This is somebody that we're going to be able to help propel their career?
Breath on the mirror. Yeah, breath on the mirror has been the standard in real estate. It's a reverse market. All agents should get a chance. Certainly, what we tell them is we only have a couple prerequisites. Ethics, obviously. You have to be honest and fair and put the client's interest first and understand what a fiduciary responsibility is. Secondly, competence and work ethic as well, so that you're returning your phone calls and you actually know what you're talking about. If you're fair and honest, know what you're talking about and return your phone calls, I tell them I can teach them this business and they'll go right to the top.
Right, basically. Right.
That's my feeling, is that's what the consumer is looking for. Someone that's going to be honest with them, that knows what they're talking about, and that is responsive. And if you are that, you have a pretty good chance of making it in real estate. Of course, you have to apply yourself and be consistent with your actions and so on.
Right. And I think that it definitely, sometimes people get into this industry thinking that, I don't have a boss. I don't have the, I'm kind of working on my own. I don't have the time constraints. It's not a 9 to 5, but it's in a lot of cases, it's more than a 9 to 5. And people need to understand that phone's going to ring whenever it wants to ring. There is no, people are going to call that if you have a client and they have an issue. It doesn't matter if it's, 4:00 in the afternoon on a Wednesday or 9:00 PM on a Saturday. They're still going to call.
Hey, there's a crisis management element, and that's an interesting element. I think people can do that as long as they can just multitask a little bit and have some good skills and not become frantic. Mm-hmm. And of course, we're all guilty of it. But I try to preach calmness, that the client does not want to hear from the pilot that, the right engine is on fire. They can probably see that for themselves. But as far as they want to hear is that, we're going to land this plane, just put on your seatbelt, thank you, and such. But, they should also make it a fun business. Mm-hmm. And to your point about hours in a day, eventually I think it all blends together. Mm-hmm. And if you're having fun with it, then you're available to take care of things, prioritize properly. When things need to be escalated to the top, that happens. And there's a system to it. Systems are key. It can't just be like in the old days, paper flying everywhere in the realtor's desk and that frantic, that's cool. But there has to be foundation underneath to bring you back to order the next day.
Right. Well, I really think I think it's awesome that you are active, you have active clients, that you stay active in the actual practice of the business. And it's not just, over the top of it, kind of moving all the chess pieces around, that you're actually down in it doing it too.
Oh, you have to stay sharp on a daily if you're going to be a gunslinger, right? There's always somebody better and new kids coming up. So you want to stay active and sharp like that and in the know. So yes, but I really do enjoy coaching and seeing a young agent excel. That's a kick. To take somebody and try to eliminate that nervousness for them and let them know, hey, it's going to be okay because, we do this is what we do and we'll make it through. And that I think is something that they deserve. And we try to, create an environment for that.
Right. Well, kind of switching gears a little bit, I want to talk to you about the green real estate and this eco-friendly stuff that you've got going on. Tell me about that a little bit.
Well, early on, we took a path to do some pioneering regarding affiliation with the U.S. Green Building Council. Jay Corrales, one of our star agents, had been doing work for them, and I was supportive of all that. We currently try to provide education not only to the realtors, but to the clients to say, here are your options so that you can, if you're doing a renovation, have that in conformity with these standards, and everybody I think is familiar with LEED standards now, and that sort of thing. So basically, our goal was to try to push the information into the community, and hopefully we helped with that in some of the early stages. Now I think it's a little bit more well known, and of course people are recognizing the climate crisis and so on. But in 2001, it was a little bit more daunting to get the information out there.
Right. So what's that been like, as you know, the I guess the awareness of, you know, green energy and green building and sustainable living has really kind of ramped up really in the last, I guess, 10 years. You know, it's really kind of started ramping up a bit more. But what's that been like, being involved in it and being involved in it from the beginning?
Well, glad to see people arrive to the party and start understanding that, you know, we have an issue. And so let's do our best, you know, best practices toward that issue. So that's been comforting to a good extent. There's obviously much more work to be done. And so we need to stay education based again. And we all do. So I think there's still much to be done. And hopefully there are some strong forces now in place to accomplish that.
Right. Looking back on your, you know, you said your previous life in the rock and roll industry and in the entertainment industry, how much has that helped you be able to just talk to people and form relationships with people, whether that be a new client or a new agent that you're trying to recruit into your business?
Well, I don't suffer shyness with people. So that's good. And I think I would encourage young agents to be that way and take it a little lighter and mix it up with the consumers, with the public. They want to be around somebody that is not sullen. I think if you're sullen, that's problematic. If you can lighten it up and mix it up with people in general and just talk to anybody about themselves, basically, they want to talk about themselves, especially in this world we're in now. You know, people want to, they will still converse and mix it up with you and let them do that. And then at the end, let them know, you know, that you are available to provide real estate information to anyone that they hear about that might desire real estate information. So that's the key, and what I make sure we bring it back to at Turner Real Estate for the agents is just to say, if you're consistently spreading the message that you're available to provide real estate information, and you expect everyone you know, when they hear of someone that needs real estate information, to send them your way, and you keep everything, all your newsletters and all your propaganda flowing, and keep reiterating that point, that they have a duty to you, all your people that love you and you love them. Celebrate the love by sending those people they hear about that need real estate information. So that, you know, if they just do that, they can do that at a rock and roll show. They can do that, you know, you're always working 24/7, because no matter what you're doing, you're heightening your profile in the community. And then eventually the people that you're in touch with regularly, you're going to go to lunch with them, take them out of their rhythm, and let them know they have that special job, which is to keep their ears open as you're maybe picking up the check if you're sporty. And they appreciate that when we get through the COVID environment. I think it'll open up a lot more, and we can get back to a lot more personality stuff in the practice and in the marketing. Right now, I'm talking about with agents perhaps adapting and being more Zoom focused and knocking some of these, what we call referral appointment conversations, doing them by Zoom, which is, you know, just adapting to whatever we have to. But yeah, as far as my personality style, I meet people easily, and as I did with you, give them an interview before they interview me. I interview them and see what we're talking about. Because now that I know that you dig heavy metal and rock and roll, we're clear with each other. There's nothing more needs to be said.
That's right.
We're like this.
That's right. That's
so
right.
I expect you to refer me some people.
Absolutely.
Sometimes.
Well, just before wrapping up, I like, you're talking about the adapting to this time and how COVID, we're now a year into it and things are still very different. Our lives are very different, but we are adapting to it. And things like this, the Zoom call, 99% of the population didn't know what Zoom meant 10 months ago, the year. Now this is so normal for everybody. And I think it is helping. I think by doing this, it does help people that have some anxiety in meetings. I think always doing things this way helps break down some of those barriers because you're in your own space, you can make yourself comfortable. And me personally, I think that setting up some of those initial appointments via Zoom, I think would be greatly beneficial for real estate agents.
I'm advising it at this point to the agents is to say, let's get a slick Zoom presentation together and be able to impress that way, because it's a one step toward if there is going to be another meeting, or maybe there is not one in that COVID environment, but whatever, it adds a little more personality, and I think can be a big benefit to the agent.
I really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me a little bit this morning.
Fun, man. Well, like I say, if the world opens up and we're back, we'll meet up in Hollywood at the Rainbow bar where Lemmy used to like to hang out from Motorhead. And that's where I bought Steve Harris a beer, by the way. Awesome. Everything happens at the Rainbow.
That's right.
And hope to see you out in California someday, or maybe right now I've got an act I'm helping. We've got a little deal with Universal Music Group. The kid's name is JJ Savage, and I'll plug him too. And maybe we'll get on the road out toward Florida. His band members, one is from the band Death Angel, Andy, his drummer, and the other one from Exodus, Michael, the bass player. And they're a three-piece, if you know those bands. Death Angel used to open for Metallica quite a bit.
Awesome.
You mentioned that. But and my real estate company is turnerrealestate.com.
Absolutely.
And hope to run into you.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you're ever in Florida, if I'm ever out that way, I'll definitely look you up.
Right on. I've got some good friends there. Hope to see you.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Okay. Thank you.
So I really want to thank Brent for taking the time to talk with us, and I'll definitely be checking out this new band. Now, once again, if you think you or somebody else on your team has an awesome story or tip to share with our community, send us a message at feedback@smartagents.com. Well, that wraps things up for this episode, but remember, follow the show wherever you listen to podcasts and make sure to subscribe to the Smart Agents YouTube channel. Again, I'm Michael Walter, and we'll see you on the next episode.